Welcome back to the Toppling TBR. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Hannah, and we are still on Queen of Shadows. So we left off part one last time with, Dorian's got his collar on and he's depressed and making us depressed. And we learned Lysandra is a shapeshifter and Arobin got murdered and got all his money stolen. So part one was fun. Part two
Yes.
is Queen of Light. And organizing this was a very ping pong back and forth. So I tried to stick with the witches and then riffled until the stories merge, and then we'll just ping
Okay.
pong. We'll flip flop back and forth. So it's a little
I will
chaotic.
follow your lead. I'm ready.
Okay. So we start off with the witches where Kaltain is being used by the Duke to use her shadow fire and kill all of the humans slash maybe rebels. One thing I made note of that I thought was disgusting is that he calls her pet. I don't know
Yes.
why. That's just so gross. That's icky to me. I do not like that.
No, I didn't either.
But so in reading this a second time through, my views on everybody and everything has changed. So I'm curious. She's a weapon, right? But she's
Yes.
also their captive. So do
Yes.
you view her as more of a victim or a villain, in this instance?
Now I can definitely see how she is a victim. My whole opinion of her shifted to the end of this book just
Yeah.
because she willingly gave up her life to save them. But at the same time, she was doing it on her own terms.
Yes.
She didn't shy away from that. But you can tell that she's still a little bit of an asshole. Like you
Yeah.
could
As I'll say, you
tell.
never liked her. So,
No, and I really didn't, but I think that it was worse because of what they did to her.
right.
I
Did
did
you?
feel sorry for her at the
Yeah.
end. Not as sorry as I probably should have. But yeah, I did
Right.
feel
But you
bad.
get a little bit of sympathy for her for
I
sure.
did, yeah. I could see how she ended up where she ended up, but at the same time, I
Right.
think that her choices led her there. At the same time, she really didn't
Absolutely.
deserve that either. So
I
yeah, I
agree.
did feel bad.
So after her fire, the 13 are ordered to finish everybody off and to kill the rest of them.
Yeah.
So same question here. It's kind of the same scenario. Are the witches monsters because they have to kill these people, or are they victims because they don't really have a choice?
You know what? It's a little harder for me for the witches because they are making conscious decisions to do these things that no
Yes.
one is inside them driving them forward like they were with Kaltain. So I don't know. I understand that they are a group and they are doing what the collective seems to want, but it doesn't feel like I don't know. You can kind of see where the fracturing's happening now, where some of them are starting to
Yeah.
question. Like, they're starting to question what's going on, and that's really interesting to see where that's gonna go. But honestly, they could say no, and they're choosing not to.
Yeah, that's kind
Oh,
of where I
yeah,
am.
they're still a little villainous for as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Okay, so then Roland enters. And during his altercation with the 13, we see him kind of flickering back and forth between, his consciousness and his possessive, his demon that has him. And it's really interesting because now we've seen Dorian. We've seen, I think his name was Steven, the one that they captured for Arobin, and now also Roland. And in every single one of them, their soul is still in there and they're just literally powerless and trapped inside their body. So
Yeah.
that was really interesting for me, and it made me wonder if he were anywhere else, if anybody else would give pause and hesitate to kill him because you can actually see that he's in there, or if they would just would you have hesitated to kill him, or would you have just been like, "Nope, I'm showing you mercy. This is what you want."
That's a really hard one because at this point, they don't know how to get the Volk out, right?
Right.
So the only thing you can do to stop them is to kill both. And I think they can see that what's happening is that soul is trapped. It's a mercy. I probably would have cut
Yeah.
his head off.
Me too, but I've been wondering that. I was like, I wonder if he was anywhere else, if they would've been like, "Oh, you're redeemable. Let's see if we can save you." Obviously, the witches were the women for the job, but
Yeah, I think once they figure out how to do it safely, I think they probably will. But at this point, when you don't know, the
mm,
soul's trapped in there. How do you get it out? If you've got no,
yeah.
would you supposed to store these people in a warehouse
Lock 'em
just in
in a room.
case? Yeah, like, oh, you wait in there. We'll see if we can free you, and if not, we'll just cut your heads off later. Could you
You can
imagine
either
that?
die slowly in this room while we figure it out, or I can do it
Yeah,
quickly over here.
just call your jets over there.
Uh,
Yeah, good to know. I probably, without knowing how to, if it even could be done, I would have gone.
same,
I would have been it.
same. But I like to think I'm more ruthless than I actually am. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm kinda nasty. I'd do it.
For sure. Okay, so Kaltain, we learn, has had a demon prince inside of her this whole time, and
Yeah.
she's been slowly chipping away at him until she finally killed him with her shadow fire, and she's
Yeah.
been pretending to be this husk of a person and just bidding her time until the right time, which makes me wanna jump back to, why the fuck are you killing all these humans with your shadow fire? Why did you not just kill Erewhon? Like, I am grateful for the sacrifice that she made at the end, but it made me second guess everything, all the evil that she did in the meantime.
Yeah. You have to wonder, like, how long was this going on for where before because she said a while, well, that could be
Yeah.
any length of time, but at the same time, if she didn't do it, they would have known and she'd be dead anyway, and those people would
Yeah.
still be dead, right?
Right,
Like, if she didn't do it, someone else would have done it and she'd be dead too. At least she went out and she did something good with her
and
ending.
she was able to take out all of the creatures and, the yellow legs
Yeah.
they were experimenting on, and who's to say that those witch Valg babies weren't gonna be more dangerous than the Valg princes that we currently have, you know? So,
Those
I get
things
it,
gave
it's
me the
fine.
creeps.
But yeah, they did.
Oh,
We also, in this moment, learned that Kaltain had whenever she had magic, she had golden flame, she had firepower.
yeah.
So that's super similar to Aelin's. I'm not sure that hers takes a specific color, but that means she's blessed by Mala too, which
Yeah.
I think super interesting, like, they have so much more in common.
Yeah, but it's sad too that that it's over for her because I would have liked to have known more about her lineage. I don't know if we find out more about her later because I haven't read any of the books, but
Yeah,
like
I'm
I
not
was like,
sure.
I feel like it's kind of left a little bit of a. I have questions now about her and like what lineage did she come from?
Right.
How did she end up where she ended up? Like I have questions. I'm hoping that they get answered or I just forget and don't care.
Then we jump to Rifthold, and I'm actually really glad that it mentioned this in this book because totally forgot in part 1 to mention, you remember whenever Aelin and Rowan are having this moment on the roof and she's about to kiss him and he freaks out and he's like, "Don't touch me like that."
Yeah.
So, yeah, at first I'm like, "What the fuck, Rowan? Like, you've been leading her on and flirting with her the whole time. Like, what is wrong with you?" But then we, find out that she touched the tattoo on his face is Lyria's story and their story and her death and all. So, I think he redeemed himself a little bit in that because that's perfectly understandable. I think he's so scared of the extremeness, like, the amount of feeling that he's having towards Aelin, and I think that he probably doesn't think that he should be allowed to. He's, like, scared of what that's gonna mean for Lyria and her memory, and, I mean, that was
Yeah.
his mate, you know?
Yeah, I can totally understand that. I can totally understand that. And it would
Yeah.
be confusing for him too, right? Like, the hit must be really confusing.
Well, because
And
you're in
she's
this
so
one moment
young.
she is young, but you're in this moment, and then all of a sudden, you're literally, like you're touched, but you're, like, slapped in the face with, "Shit, there's her too," you know? And
Yeah.
healing and intimacy and grief and all of that, it's messy. So, I had to give
Yeah.
him a little bit of grace whenever I learned that that is why he responded that way, because I was mad at him.
Yeah, I was too. I was a little bit, and it made me wonder why he reacted so strongly
Yeah,
to, like, what was going on. But I always assumed that he must have had a reason for pulling
right.
away. And that would be
And
horrible.
was it an
He's already had
acceptable
one
reason?
loss.
Did you think it was a good reason, an acceptable response,
Oh,
the "Don't ever touch
yeah.
me like that"? Yeah, I do
Oh,
too.
for sure. I don't think that anyone could fault him for reacting
Yeah.
that way. He didn't mean to. He was just caught off guard
No,
too.
absolutely, yeah. Okay, so their goal in Rifthold now is to free magic, kill the king, and free Dorian. Okay?
Yes.
So on the path to, tick off all those boxes to get it moving, Aelin finds out that the opium dealer has died, and so they go and they find his secret stash of hellfire.
She's got her finger in every pie. Like, how did she know that? Like, she knows everything.
Right? You would feel like she would need to have, like, 1,000 spies out there for her, but she's just good enough on her own to be
I
her own spy in
know.
every corner. So,
She's
I
just
love
so
that. Yeah. But while they're down underneath in the catacombs, they come across that old temple, like, from Gavin's time, and that was
yeah.
pretty creepy and eerie to me.
Yes.
And we learned down there that Erewhon is the Valg king, and that instead of being slaved, he was just trapped in an iron sarcophagus under
Yeah.
Marath. So, how did you feel in finding out that the old name for whatever he said was Marath? Do you think that what's the significance of that? Like, do you think that there's more power there because of that, or that he just chose that place because that's where he was?
I think you're right. I think that there's something very significant about the place and the name. It's hard to say what right now because there's still
Yeah.
so much I don't know. And I get the feeling the next book's really gonna kick that into high gear. But it definitely seems as though there was method to the madness there for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely forgot about the fact that he was buried underneath Maas. So whenever I read that, I was like, "Oh, I forgot so many things," and it's just
I thought he
exciting
was
to
dead. Like this
yeah,
blew
because
me
he
away.
was
I'm
supposed
like,
to be.
what?
He was
Like
supposed
he's
to be.
alive?
It's right.
What?
So then, Lorcan fills them in on the fact that the ring see, and we knew that the ring was more significant because Maeve would never ever trade Rowan, one of her best weapons, for this random memorabilia thing that, she doesn't have a heart. She doesn't care about
Yeah.
that. So it is a very powerful ring. Whoever wears it
Yeah.
cannot be enslaved by a wordstone collar or ring.
Correct.
And then he also says that he is planning on hunting down the word stones or word keys to prevent Maeve from having them, and he's gonna destroy them. And
Yeah, because
did
he wanted to
did you
protect
believe
her
him?
from it. Yeah, I
Did you
do. I think
you did?
yeah, because he's still bonded to Maeve, right? So he can't do anything that's gonna hurt her. So he must have been telling the truth. Like, there has to be at least an element of truth in there, because otherwise, why should she let
Yeah.
him go?
Right, well,
Like,
unless she was letting him go to go get them to bring them back to her, which is also, like, another, like, my mind was taking me there too."
but at the same time, he could have had them all killed and he didn't. Like, he
Right.
could have just gone and found them himself and wiped them all out, and there wouldn't have been anyone else looking. So I don't
Yeah,
know. There's definitely something more there. There's definitely something more there.
yeah,
But is that, you asked me the question, is that why Maeve doesn't leave where she is?
yeah,
Because you asked me about that. And so now that she wants that ring and she got that ring, does that mean that that's what she was afraid of? That she knew this stuff was happening and did nothing?
and she's scared of the Vogue.
And she's scared of the Valg, and that's why she was hiding, and now she's because obviously this was
I mean,
significant to her, she must have known, which just
right,
makes her an
that she
even
knows what
more
the ring
lousy
is
fucking
for
person.
sure, and if
She's
she's
fucking
willing to
lousy.
yeah, she is. So, yeah, I think you're onto something there for sure, and, if Lorcan is telling the truth in this, I like that because we've just seen him as this kind of emotionless, hard ass,
Yeah,
whatever guy, and it adds a little bit of depth to his character to see that he can be loyal to the bigger picture and the greater cause and not just to Maeve.
yeah,
So, and it
yeah,
shows his intelligence too, to be able to find these little loopholes in her blood oath to be able to
yeah.
defy her in these little small ways.
Well, he must have been with her for a long time. He's gotta know what he can and can't get away with over the course of
Right,
time. But
right.
yeah, it was, I actually quite enjoyed him being in this part of the book and kind of see him being against them and then not against them, kinda helping them out. I actually quite enjoyed that. I hope we see more of him. Hope we
Yeah.
see more of him.
Okay. We also learned that Goldrin, Aelin's sword, was forged to fight demons,
Mhm.
which I loved. I thought that's just, like, poetic in a way that, like, she has this sword that is perfectly created for this battle and this war that she's stepping into. I liked that. I forgot that that's what the sword was.
Well, then someone must have known this was coming. This must have been foretold at some point that she was gonna have to deal with this. Otherwise, why would they make it?
Well, there's all these foreshadows, like, even in the end of this book, like, I made a note, and in the beginning, it's like, "Oh, the players are back in the game. All the
Yeah.
players are back in the game," and the king even mentioned he's like Havilliard and Galathinius, so I don't know, but Erwin also, like, they've already fought the Bog Princes in the past, the Dark War or whatever they called it.
Yeah, but they thought that the king was dead. Like, it's I don't know. It feels like somebody was playing chess, like, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and now all the game is just starting.
Yeah.
All the pieces have been put in place now. It's intriguing. I have to say it's intriguing.
It is. Okay, so then fucking Arobin has sold Lysandra out and told the king that she was a shifter, so they are sending her off to Marath.
I can't
And
believe that he knew, because I was like, he didn't know. Fucking knew.
but
Of course he fucking knew.
he knows everything, but also he loves to surround himself by powerful people. So do you think that that's part of the reason he was like, I want her to be mine? She's important, just the same way he did with Aelin. I want her to be my heir. Like he wants to be the most powerful he can be, and then surrounding him with people of power that's gonna
Well,
just
how did he
help.
how did he know?
I don't know. That is a really
She
good
never
question.
told anybody.
No, and she doesn't even have the same face that she did whenever she was young. So I feel like unless he knew her mom or maybe like witnessed her shifting before magic, I have no idea.
Which he had Aelin's necklace. Maybe he could see the
Yes.
magic with that thing. Like, I was like, because I sat there for about 10 minutes going, how did he know? How could he have possibly known when she didn't tell nobody? And I'm like, the only thing I can think of is that that necklace maybe gave him the power to see magic that was being suppressed. I just don't know because I haven't read any
Maybe,
further.
or so, like, you know how Rowan could smell it on her, and Manon could
Yeah.
smell the off smell, and, like, Adian is part Fae, so maybe there was someone in his pocket or on his side that was part Fae and could pick up on that scent and just let him know, like one of his spies.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
I'm not
So
sure,
many
but
questions.
yeah. So they go to the, Oakwald Forest to try to
Mhm.
go rescue Lysandra, and at the same time, the 13 are sent to go have a meeting with the king, so this is where the stories kind of merge.
Yes.
And Manon meets Dorian. How did you feel about that encounter?
You know, it's funny because it kind of felt like they were kind of flirting a little bit with each
They were
other.
so flirty, like, at
Like,
least Dorian was, but it was so
it's
nice to see.
he's him back, right? Because that's how he
Yeah.
is. He sees a pretty girl and he's like, "Hey."
Yeah, so, like,
But she
even though Go ahead.
No,
I
I
was
was
gonna
just gonna
say,
say it was just nice that she was reacting to him too. Like she must because she could see that he was in there and so was the Valg, that she was still entertaining that.
well, I think I think a big part of that was so Manon is, like, very feared, right? She's and I think it was probably pretty refreshing to see, and especially in a human, this man isn't cowering away from you. Like, it's gotta be intriguing, right? Like, they've both got darkness in them, and they recognize it in the other person, and, it's just a different or actually, it's not even a different form, Dorian's just enslaved, but Manon is kind of enslaved too.
Yeah, this is true. I had it like the whole thing with Manon and it suppressing the Bolg inside Dorian so he could talk. Is that her magic doing that? Or did they
I
have some kind of connection that I don't know, he could reach
I
out, I
Well,
guess?
maybe I think they do have a very strong connection, but also there was, you see the demon inside of him, like, thrashing around with
Yeah.
regard to her gold eyes.
Okay,
So,
so
he
it
obviously
was the demon. The demon was freaking out then.
maybe I
And
think
that
that
gave
that
him
allowed him to, like,
okay.
step down a
Push
little bit, and hopefully
forward, okay. Because I did wonder about that. I'm like, is she that powerful that she's kinda suppressing the demon? But yeah, I guess the demon being
well, we
afraid of her would work too.
we also see that in Roland, whenever they killed Roland, his demon inside him was like, "Oh, the eyes of our king, whatever, whatever," while Roland was flickering back and forth too. So maybe
Mm,
they lose a little bit of their, solid power and the people inside are able to break through.
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know, but, I did love their little flirty banter, and she was like, "What color would you bleed?" And he's like, "I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to."
I know.
Love it.
It was something. It was just nice to see a flicker of the old Dorian again because I was starting to get
Mhm.
really concerned that we weren't gonna have him back.
Yeah, and you're like, "Why do you like him?" We had,
Well,
like, a book and a half of him.
for me, I can like after seeing him when just before they put the collar on, that's what solidified it for me that he is a really good man, really, really decent human being. But I was so glad. I was so glad. Nice to see a little flicker of him back. That was nice.
Me too. So then they rescue Lysandra, and there's several things in this next scene that, like, I don't understand, I don't get it. I didn't dissect it the same way the first time through, but Chaol decides that he's gonna kill Dorian. So he runs out in front of all the
Yep.
witches, and, like, make that make sense. That is so not in Chaol's character.
No, I think at this point he has given up. He thinks that Dorian is gone, that he is dead, and he just wants to free his friend now. And I
But
don't think if it didn't matter to him if he died doing it either.
yeah, but so everyone was sitting on the side, like Adian and Rowan and all of them, and they're like, "Oh, Dorian's in there. Is Dorian in there?" Whenever he's flirting with Manon. So where was Chaol during that? Was he not witness to that as well?
I don't think he was really paying attention to that. I really don't.
Yeah, he was just in his
I
feels.
I get the feeling that Kale is very single focused in the way he attacks things. So for him, it's like, I have to free my friend now. He's
Yeah.
accepted the fact that he is not coming back and he had to free his friend or what was going on.
Yes.
And I don't think he was, I think he's shut everything out because I don't know. I really still like Kale a lot, but he's kind of a bonehead.
Yes, he
Some of the
is.
stuff he gets up to, I'm like, dude, you're making me feel bad for like liking you now. I feel stupid. I honestly believe that he just got to the point where he wanted to do what he should have done before and really wasn't thinking much about anything else.
Yeah, it's a one-track mind right there. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go shut the door. My daughter didn't shut it. Kale runs out to, try to kill Dorian. Manon intercepts him, and then, Aelin and them go out there, and she tells Manon who she is,
Mhm.
which, hell yeah, no more hiding behind Selena. It's all happening now. Manon has this weak spot for a lead, and, in the last part, Elide was like, "Yeah, I want Aelin. I'm holding out hope that Aelin Galathinius is alive. Like, she's gonna be my queen." And so Manon said she doesn't wanna fight, and she's gonna let Kale go, and I believed her, like, because I know she has a soft spot for Elide. Did you believe her? Because Aelin said that she didn't think she was gonna let her go.
Believe it.
Yeah, so then whenever Aelin fucking says, "Oh, yeah, well, I killed Baba Yellowlegs,"
Yeah, but I think that's what triggered her off though, because
it
she's like,
is,
yeah,
and
they would have
because
just
Aelin
walked away and it would have been it. But Aylin's
right?
such a little shit.
She's a little
I
shit
think she wanted
talker.
to
She's
have a
an
fight.
instigator.
Yeah, she wanted the fight.
Yeah,
She was
she's
like,
always gotta
"Really?"
put out that power play, that's just who she is, but, like, oh my gosh, freaking Rowan almost died because of it, like, I hope it was worth
Yes.
it.
What she was really trying to assess was just how powerful are these witches, because doesn't they know at this point that there's like 3,000 of these witches and they're all on wyverns, and that this
Yeah.
is like, I think she wanted to know just how powerful they were in combat, because I think I would want to know at that point too. I think I would have wanted to know, can I take any of these? Like, how hard is this going to be? What kind of an army do I need?
Yeah.
Because, yeah. And I don't think she was trying to stir up trouble just for the sake of it, but maybe she was. It's hard to say because it might have just been her hot-headedness popping back out
Yeah.
again. So,
Just can't resist bragging to their kind.
yeah,
But
I don't
this is
know.
like
I wouldn't have said anything though. I
I
would have
wouldn't
just let,
either.
but
It's
she
such a
did,
high
and
stakes it's such a high stakes thing to do because you only have your crew of what? Lysandra, Rowan, Kaol, Nezrin, and you? I
yeah.
think they're the only ones. And then
There
the
yeah,
whole
there was
13 are there. So, like,
exactly. So that's
and
what I mean, I know she's a hothead, but she has been very strategic in her planning, so she obviously had a reason for starting that fight.
yeah,
She has to have, otherwise, what was the point? Because
maybe even
they all could have died, and then what?
yeah, at the end. But maybe it was also not only to see how the witches fight, but maybe it was to prove that she is not just a queen by name, that she can actually, hold up her end and she can fight. She can go toe to toe with Manon too. So maybe it was that as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Uh,
It's really hard to say because
yeah.
she's 20 steps ahead in everything else. It just would seem really out of character to just start a fight with a witch when they're outnumbered. It just
That's what I'm
seems a
saying.
little,
That's what I'm saying. The Chaol thing in this scene and then the Aelin thing in this scene. I'm like, what is going on?
yeah, it was weird. But the Kale thing I understand because he is a little bit,
Yeah.
he doesn't tend to think things through because he's follows, oh, I must do this because this is the right thing to do. And then all of a sudden he'll veer course
Yeah.
because I don't know. But Aylin's a little, I don't know, she does things because she knows what's going to happen and she's already
Yes.
planned for it. I don't know. I
She's already
don't
thought it
know.
all the way through.
I don't know. Weird.
So then, they run, Rowan gets shot through the shoulder, and they fight, and that was exciting. We
Yes.
thoroughly enjoyed that fight, even though it was unneeded.
It was totally unneeded, but it seemed very even too. Like yeah, they were,
I think it was kinda eye-opening for both of them, but, like, this was one of the first times we've seen an opponent for Aelin that is equal to or better
yes.
than her, and I think she had a
Yeah.
brief moment of, like, could possibly die.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It really equalized the power of them for me, that they're
Yeah.
both really super powerful women, and one's like, she's immortal, right, Manon? Like, she's been
Yes.
around a while, and
Well,
Aylin's so young. Could you imagine what Aelin would be years later?
right?
Like,
If she's been alive for hundreds of years, man, she'll be
yeah,
unstoppable.
exactly. So I really enjoyed that. I
Yeah.
thought it was great for, like, the atmospheric part of the book, but yeah, it did seem a little weird that she'd start a fight.
Yeah, that's okay.
Really strange.
Then Manon gets thrown into the column and the whole temple starts crashing down. And we hear Astrid's like wail of despair. And that really triggered something in Aelin enough to where she decides she's gonna go save Manon. And I absolutely loved her comment that she made to her that says, "If I die because of you, I'll beat the shit out of you in hell."
Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was hilarious. I really did. She's so funny.
Yeah, I love her.
I love her
But now Manon
humor.
Me too, me too. It comes out of nowhere. It's just, like, random little snarky comments, and I'm like, "Okay." So, but
I
now
love it.
Manon owes her a life debt. Before do you have anything else to say on their fight?
No, no.
Okay, so before we leave this whole scene, let's talk about the matron's grandmother creating the witch mirrors.
What is that about?
It's
What is
literally
that
the
about?
ability to take it's the ability it's a fucking weapon of mass destruction. It's the
I
ability
know,
to
but
take
but
why?
why do it?
Because she doesn't care about saving anybody or alliances or anything like that. She wants to be praised by, the Duke, aka the Valg King. She wants to be praised by him and be the best of the best. She just wants to be powerful. And this is a weapon that she has been able to create that she'll get a pat on the back, praise for, and also it will make them the most powerful.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I
I
don't
was like,
know.
"Why
It's so
does she get
scary.
involved like this?" Like, it's
Yeah.
really extreme.
It is, and they even made a comment there, and I was like, "Oof, obviously, we know now by the ending it's not gonna happen, but, like, about what if they used it and targeted their shadow fire onto it? Like, that would annihilate everybody and everything, or at least torture
Yeah,
them if they don't die from it."
yeah. It really, like that's when I realized just how ruthless she was too. Like, she
Mhm.
is a step above Crazy Town.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So
Yeah,
then back in Morath, Vernon shows up and, throws a lead in the dungeons and says,
yeah,
"You're a hybrid, you're part witch, and you're also, part this line that has magic in it. So essentially, we're going to experiment on you."
yeah.
Ugh,
That really
such
that set my teeth on edge because she's just I don't know. I know she's, like, a quiet, strong, but I wanna take up a fucking sword and go grab her. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because she's literally been in chains her entire life. Like, her
Yeah.
leg got mangled, and her fricking stupid ass uncle isn't gonna let her fix it, and then you're gonna keep her chained, and then now that she's been hobbling around still chained up, you're gonna throw her in a dungeon and take away
Yeah.
every single right that she does still have or of her own autonomy? Like, no. I was so mad. I was,
I
like,
was
fuming for
so
her.
angry. I was
Yeah.
so angry. I've got new hatred now. New hate.
Absolutely. Vernon is terrible. Like,
And
I've
he's
always
not got anything in him, right? Like, he's just doing this just because he's an asshole, right? There's no
I
Vulg in him, right?
think so. It's never mentioned a ring or anything on him, and I don't remember from my first read through if he had. I think he's
'Cause I
just
kinda
an
got the feeling he was just human and just a real piece of shit.
actual bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up, we get Astrid's heartbreaking history of
Yeah.
falling in love with a mortal man and getting pregnant and having a stillborn. Like,
My
I was crying,
god.
like legit crying.
It was horrible to read because I hadn't really thought much about her other than the fact that she was trying to do the right thing no matter what punishment she was being dished out.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, "Oh, it makes sense now. It makes complete sense while she's" and I'm like,
Fighting for
"Why"
them
and
and the
then I'm like, "Why
witchling.
didn't you tell her sooner? Like, why didn't she
Right?
tell" but she must have known that something had changed in Manon too to realize it was the
Yeah.
right time to do something. I'm like, "God, you've been holding that inside you all this
I
time?"
know. Well, it's kind of a last dance too, like, trying to get Manon to open her eyes because, she's about to hand over Blackbeak covens and other, more witches for these experiments, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I've hated the matron the entire time. I've really, really hated her, but, like, seeing the way that she handled that situation, she wouldn't even let her hold her baby even though it's stillborn. It was like and the way that she didn't show her an ounce of compassion and
She
just was
branded her.
cruel
She
and, like,
branded her.
dehumanizing and literally marked her with unclean so that she cannot repeat the
Forget.
same mistakes.
Yeah,
Like,
but it
oh my
also is a constant
gosh.
reminder of her loss.
I
It's a
know.
constant
How
reminder of her
heartbreaking,
loss.
right?
Oh
So
god. It was yeah, that was probably the most tragic part for me in this
in this
part
book,
of the book. It was just yeah, it was a lot. She knows how to hit you right in the balls, okay?
she
Sergio
does.
Mars hits you right in the goddamn balls.
She does. So I can't stand the matron. Like, she's controlling every aspect of their body, and this is an example of that. Like, it's oppression, and she's just disguising it as tradition. And I think that this moment for me was not only heartbreaking and, traumatic and whatever, but it was such a pivotal moment because I literally felt like I could feel the ground, like, shaking beneath Manon's feet, and it takes now her grandmother's cruelty, and it's no longer this abstract idea, like, she
Yeah,
can see it, in this witch that is her second and her cousin and,
definitely.
her most-trusted or best friend, essentially, so I don't think that she can or will ignore it anymore,
I
so
think that was the point too where she
you're right.
realizes that something has got to give, and it's definitely not
Yeah.
gonna be her grandmother. I'm really hoping now that Manon realizes that she has to step into the role of leader. Like, she's gotta get rid of her grandmother, and she's gotta do things differently for her coven. She has to. I will lay my life down that that's what's gotta happen. I just you
We'll
have to.
see.
You can't keep letting this woman treat people like that. Like, you
She's a
can't.
monster, she's not even a woman.
She is a horrific monster, a
Yes,
horrific
she is.
monster. She's doing this to her own people too. These are
I
her blood, her
know
kin, and she doesn't give a
about
yeah.
anything except for power.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and I don't think that's what the witches were supposed to be about. I kinda get the
Mm,
feeling they've moved away from the path they were supposed to be on because of this.
because of the matrons and holding on to because if you show any they're supposed to be brutality, obedience, and discipline, I think. So if you show any empathy or, anything like that, it could be seen as a weakness, so it can detract from your 3 goals, which is stupid and wrong, but, whatever. Here we are.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Totally with
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so she is now reinstated as Ashton is reinstated as second, which I
And
love. And there was actually
yes.
a moment later in the book where Manon asks Ashton, she goes, "What is it like? What is it like to love?" And I love that she's now getting curious and realizing that they can love. Like they're capable of that.
Or is it because she fancied Dorian and he is mortal?
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that
Maybe.
made her think about it. Because they seem to
Yeah.
have some chemistry with the flirting, I don't know.
They absolutely do. Like, I really do think it is Manon is gorgeous, right? Everybody talks about how
Yes,
beautiful she is. So, obviously, that's intriguing to Dorian, but she's also powerful. And
very.
not only that, whenever he witnesses her, she's being snarky and standing up to the king, which that's probably also a turn on in its own to Dorian.
Well, we both know that
And
he liked that with Selena, so
yeah, and then also I think a lot of it is that he doesn't balk and back down or cower at all with regards to her because I doubt that she's ever seen a human man,
yeah,
act like that, shit his
and
pants
he's
whenever she
pretty,
yeah.
right? Like, he's a
Yeah,
pretty,
he's
pretty
beautiful.
man, so,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know, I just that was something that popped into my head when I was reading, it was just like, yeah, they'd be
yeah.
a quite the couple.
Yeah, they would. Okay, so now Aelin hands Lysander a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, it says that her and Evangeline's debts have been paid off.
I know. I got goosebumps again.
I know, I literally was just, like, tearing up for the whole end of this book. The end of this book is so much change and so much hope and so much beauty, like
Yeah.
and I love that Sarah J. Maas can take something that it's so touching and then sprinkle in enough humor to where you're, like, crying and laughing and everything about how she was like, "Whoa, do you not ever look ugly?" And then Lysandra starts sobbing, and she's like, "Oh, good, you're ugly when you sob." Like, I thought
I
that was
really like
hilarious.
that as well.
But I don't know, it's nice to see that Aelin I mean, we already know her, but it's still nice to
Yes.
see that she will take her, her cunning and her resources, and she will use it to lift her people up instead of just for
Yes.
revenge.
You know
So I
what?
think
I really enjoy that about her. She's massively compassionate.
yeah,
And
sure,
that's
sure.
why we know the witches are wrong because Aelin is just as powerful with her compassion. I
Absolutely,
really love her as a person because she's such a sweetheart. She's such a sweetie pie.
I agree. And next, Lorcan gives they exchange ring for the fake amulet.
Yes.
And it is the night before all of their big plans to free magic and all of that, and everybody is in their feels. So we see Chaol apologize to Aelin, which, way to go, Chaol. It to me felt like a real, genuine apology. And he said that he wants
Yes.
to change. He is regretful that he ever served this king. Like all of the things that I think she really needed to hear and that I needed to hear for him because he
Yeah.
was starting to get on my nerves at this point.
Yeah. Oh, in this book, he definitely was grating on me a little bit. I'm glad
Yeah.
that he ate some humble pie and
Yeah.
did the right thing. Yeah, because he was starting to become a whiny little baby.
I agree. So the whole time I was like, I don't understand the hate for Kale. And then this book happened with the first reunion in part one of Aelin and Kale. And that's where I got the distaste in my mouth. And I was like, this is why. But still, overall, he's better this go round for sure.
Yeah.
So Kale apologizes to Aelin. And then, Rowan and Aelin have a little moment where they have a little kiss. And it was just kind of scary and sad and hopeful. And they're just all in the motions. Tomorrow's a big day. It could go any way. Everything has to play out perfectly.
Yes.
So then they wake up the next day. The day's here to, free magic, kill the king, free Dorian. And
There's
they're
a lot
walking through
going
the
on.
there's a lot going on. It all has to work
Yeah.
out perfectly, right? So they are walking through the town and they see the message, witch killer, the human is still inside him, which I loved, but also made me question. I'm like, okay, so I understand that you can't write Aelin Galathinius. The king is still in there and you want to get her attention. But to me, I was like, for Manon to leave that message and call her a witch killer, so like to accept it, I feel like that was a big step for her. Like she killed her people. And now you're like using that as a title for her, you know?
Yeah, but this is after she found out about what happened to Astron, right? So you can kind of see that now she's probably like, well, she probably deserved that. What was
Yeah.
she doing, right? I think she's realizing that some of her people are not good people.
Yes. And also she owed her the life debt too. But it did say after that message for a life debt. But like, is that a life debt? Like technically you could be saving Dorian's life. So maybe,
Yeah,
but is the life debt supposed to be saving their life? Like I need to look into what that actually is.
you'd think, but she's kind of, for her, it's like, well, I've written this off now. I'm not going to think about it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, because I owe you a life debt, I need to be on your team now, essentially. We'll be allies in a sense.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting how the script has flipped at this point.
yes.
Yeah.
So Selena and Kale are walking up into the castle, and we see all of Kale's men, his 16 men with Russ and Brello and all of that, tortured and hanging.
Yeah.
And, I had made a note in part one where on all of Dorian's chapters where it flashed back to him and
Yeah.
he was torturing, rebels or whatever. And the whole time I'm like, are we supposed to know who these people are? Who are these people? Well, I think that those people are Kale's men and that Dorian is
Yeah.
responsible for all of them hanging up out there. And so I was like, huh,
Yeah.
I didn't catch that at the first go through, but pretty sure that's what that is.
Yeah, that's what I
So
thought as well. That's what I thought too, yeah.
So in seeing all of them, Chaol changes the plans and decides that he wants to be the one to kill the king. Which, like, I get, you want vengeance, you want your life to mean something. But, like, I don't know, it just seemed a little not well thought out right there for them to change plans
No,
as they're walking into the castle. Chaol is no match for the king. Aelin is a match for the king.
they didn't. But as far as, like, he's a human, like, is he
Mm,
trained in combat?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure he is, but it doesn't really talk about like his fighting or any of his action scenes or
No.
anything the whole time.
Or
So,
maybe he thought that the king hadn't had any training, he just sits on the throne, maybe he thought he could take him.
and that
Yeah.
his power were in the people that he surrounded himself
Yeah.
by. So, okay, so they covered themselves in word marks, for protection and to try to hide Aelin's Fey heritage.
Yeah.
They walk in there, and I love just the swagger and the difference that we see in Aelin versus Selena. Like she writes it really well. Like I
Yeah.
can feel that she's slipping on that other identity.
Yeah.
But they walk in and trying to, disguise her Fey heritage meant jack all because the king was like, "Hello, Aelin Galathinius," right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. I was really surprised that he knew who she was at
Weren't
that
you?
point. Yeah, I did. I guess I really underestimated the king because he was, as far as anyone was concerned, she wasn't supposed to be back yet. And then she comes soaring in and he knows who she is. Like, how long did he know that for?
Yeah, it makes you
Was
wonder.
it, yeah. I wondered if it was the whole time. It made me wonder if it was the whole freaking time.
I feel like he would have killed her or enslaved her sooner. Like he's all about gathering these magic and powerful people and enslaving them with the word stone to him. I feel like she would have been trapped much sooner.
Maybe. I
But
don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. That's a really hard one to say. I kind of, but can I don't know. No, I have questions. I hate that. I hate having questions.
Well, I do, I obviously in doing the deep dive, I have more questions now than I did, but we'll see. We'll just write them all down and see if they're all answered by the end of it. That'd be
I hope so. Sometimes I
one
think I
way
make
to
questions up that don't matter as well. Like, I ask
No,
things that
no, you should do that too, though, because whether or not they matter or not later, like, it's piqued your interest enough to think about it, so
yeah.
I'm all about it. Okay, so now we learn that the king has been able to look into the minds of his, Valg people, and
Mhm.
he's been able to see in Dorian's memories, and kinda that's how he knows that Kale's not shackled and that they're kind of working together, and then he whips Dorian in front of them, which I don't know, I love Aelin so much due to her, like, trauma with whipping. Anytime someone is whipped in front of her, it's just like they're taunting her, and it makes me
Yeah,
wanna stand up and fight for her, like, I can't. And I also love
I
Dorian,
know.
so, like, that whole scene to me was pretty hard to read about.
Yeah. That must have been really traumatizing.
Yeah. But then Aelin pulls out the Eye of Elena, and we really see the king's response to that, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Dude, free him or I'm gonna destroy this." And kind of a lot is happening all at once here, but, Chaol decides to stay and fight the king, pull out his sword and, embrace the darkness, which did you think he was gonna die in that moment?
Yeah, I totally did. He's that guy that has to do everything, and he has to do the right thing, but he's doing the really stupid thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what was popping through his head. He knows full well that she's way more powerful than him. The right thing to do would be to get out the way.
Well, yes, but I also think that he was probably in his mind giving her a better chance at getting away and surviving. Like, even though
Yeah,
he was
maybe.
gonna die in the meantime, maybe he was doing it for her. But yeah, I thought, he was toast for sure.
Yeah. I'm
But
sorry, but it's not like he's running around with freaking magic or anything
yeah,
either. He's got no extra bandwidth. I don't know what he was thinking. I really
right?
don't. But clearly he was prepared to die. And that's kind of where I was at with that. I think that he was more than willing to die at that point for what had happened in the past
Yes. I
and
think
his atonement.
so then Aelin runs and Dorian chases her. Oh,
Yes.
I loved like, obviously, I know I shouldn't have loved that scene because, it's 2 of the people that I love, and he just might kill her, but, reading about, like, her trying to outrun the ice and, like, it creeping up on her and, like, nipping at her heels, like, it was so well written to me. I
Oh,
loved
it
that
was
scene.
my heart was absolutely thrumming, and I was reading the and it's a big book, right? So I had it like this, and I'm gripping the seat. My husband's like, "You alright?" I'm like, "No!" He's like,
Yeah, I feel that.
"Yeah," because my hands
So
hurt after. I was like, "Ooh," grabbing the chair.
yeah, yeah, it's intense. My heart is
Yeah.
pounding. So they jump down onto the bridge. She's trying to coax Dorian out of this Vogue prince,
Yes.
and Dorian makes an ice spear and stabs her in the side. Were you expecting that? Did you think Dorian was gonna come back, or did you think some shit had to happen
I
first?
don't think it was gonna be as easy for Dorian to take control back because before he was talking to her, there was no Dorian popping out. So
Right.
clearly the Volk is
She's
not scared of her. So obviously it was gonna fight her. It didn't
yeah.
care about her. The one thing I thought was really interesting though is the fact that he could use Dorian's power. Like, 'cause that's his magic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not the Volk. So
That's
I thought
why
that was really interesting that he had the ability to control the magic within Dorian.
that's why the king wants people with magic in their bloodline so that
Yeah.
his Vogue creatures are more powerful because
Can use that magic.
they not only use the magic, but in some instances, like Kaltain's, they can take their magic and they can transform it into something of their own, Like, so
Yeah.
hers went from golden flame to shadow fire.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. It was absolutely
Yeah.
terrifying. Because with Kaltain, I kind of wondered if they had experimented on her to get what was going on with her. With Dorian, I realized that it was them using the magic that was there, and I'm like,
Okay.
"Holy shit, this is not good at
Yeah.
all."
No, that's, bad news for the
I was like,
upcoming war for sure.
"Oh."
Especially now that magic's freed and they'll be able to see who has magic, like, right away, and they'll have access to it easier.
Yeah, like that I can I won't spoil it, but I can see now why not having magic might have been safer
Yeah.
because now it's like, "Whoa, we can see you now, we can pinpoint it, we can smell it, we can" Yeah, that's terrifying.
We'll see what comes from that. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, throne room down to the bridge where they are now, Adian and Rowan are in the tunnels and they run into the seven word hounds that Lorcan lied about killing. Not only did
Yes,
he lie about killing them, but he freaking gave them Rowan's scent.
then
that piss me off.
But at the same time, you don't know that he wasn't told to if he gets in your way, get him out of your way. Like, he wasn't given the order to
Yeah.
kill him anyway, and that's your blood oath, you have to do it. So
I
I
know that,
kinda give him a little bit of a free pass there.
but
Like,
also Lorcan and Rowan have been on the same team. They've been, cadre brothers for, centuries. They
I
should
know,
have
but if
some
you're
bond.
I know, but if you're blood sworn oath to somebody and they're like, "Kill that fucker," what are you supposed to do? You have
Yeah.
to. That's you've been told what to do now. So I kind of
Yeah,
was like, I'm assuming he was told if he gets in your way, like, eliminate him, like, don't be
right.
leaving him laying around. So I kind of
Yeah.
understood that he was probably under orders for that. But yeah,
Well,
I
that
was,
makes sense.
I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah, not surprising.
no,
Okay,
I
so
really wasn't surprised.
they're getting attacked. Adian is
Mhm.
bleeding heavily. They're all, like, about to pass out because the word stone is so intense in their head. And,
Yeah,
they dropped a fuse. They failed on lighting the clock tower before noon. And then Rowan's leg gets snapped. So, like, literally in this moment, it feels like all hope is lost. And then Lorcan shows up. Random.
I
But I mean, I
know.
guess he did say later, though, that he couldn't let Gavriel's son die, which
Yes,
shows
and
that he
that
does have a bond with his cadre members.
yeah, of course he does, but he's left the fold now. That's kinda how I felt about Rowan, that he left them. He left Lorcan. So as far as he's
Right.
concerned,
You're
you picked
right.
somebody else and you left me, bro. Like,
Yeah, he feels
I
a
think
little
I would,
abandoned.
yeah, I would. I'd feel that way. They fought
Yeah,
together
I didn't
for
think about
centuries,
that.
and then this little girl comes along and you suddenly leave us all?
For a
I'd be
little
pissed.
19-year-old or maybe 20, I don't even know.
I'd be so
So,
fucking mad. But I really enjoyed the fact that he came back
yeah.
Aelin. I thought that was really sweet, and I think I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, see, I was right." He's
A little
nice.
redeeming moment for him. So, then whenever Aelin gets stabbed in the side, we see Rowan feel her pain, and that was kind of intense. I couldn't imagine this person that you love, like, thinking that they're dying because you can literally
Yeah.
feel it. But this isn't the first time that they've kinda, like, not switched positions, but, like, almost inhabited the same body. Like, yes, with the
Yeah.
Karanam, she felt his power, but also there was a moment, I don't know if you remember, where he was, like, hiding the amulet, under the floorboard, and she felt like she was in his body, and she felt
Yeah.
his power and all of that. So, like, they're very intertwined,
Yes.
which is, exciting and scary and, I don't know, beneficial probably.
I like that because that makes them more than just mates. That makes it so much that's the power is right there in that connection,
Yeah.
and it's unbelievable.
Absolutely, it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
So then they are able to fight off the Word Hounds and then boom, light the fuse. And that ripple of where it showed the different perspectives of everybody feeling magic come back, I
Yep.
loved it. Loved it. I also had a thought. I was like, so magic comes back, right? I wonder, obviously, we have chaos in everything that we're going through right now. So let's
Yeah.
not get sidetracked, obviously. But I'm wondering if, like, it was just chaos everywhere, like people burning things and going, or if they were still so terrified because magic is outlawed and banned and they're so scared of the king that they didn't play with this thing that's been dormant for 10 plus years. I don't know. I envisioned her doing a chaos chapter of the town all going crazy.
Well, they'd have to because if the magic's been sitting in you dormant for 10 years, it's probably gonna wanna get out, and you might not have any control over that.
It's
I don't
wondering.
know. I think you'd have no control over that.
So then, they defeat these word hounds. So you're like, okay, cool, we're good. And then there's like hundreds of Valg soldiers that are armed and waiting for them. And they start getting overtaken, and Lorcan runs. I don't really know what happened with him there, but made me sad where Adian like accepted his death and was like, it's been an honor, Prince.
Yeah. And then he stands in front of him. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know how they were gonna get out of that, but this is the moment where my husband looked over and was like, "Are you okay?" Because I screamed. I was like, "Fuck yes!" When Lysandra, the freaking snow leopard, comes and rips his
Yep.
hand off. Oh, that was so
She
exciting.
saved the day. She saved the
Yes.
day.
But, like,
It was
also
brilliant. That was powerful for me. That
yes.
was like her stepping into her magic because somebody had mentioned that the leopard thing before, right?
Yeah,
Like, just don't
Adian
come
had
back
said there's
yeah.
yeah.
It's like so that's
So
what she chose, and it was magic.
yeah, yeah, for sure. she's unleashed, you know? But what was wild to me is she had made a comment that she was already heading there to go help with whatever she could. And
Yeah.
like that's super loyal of her, but that is still so dumb of her to like go with hundreds of Valk soldiers with no training or experience holding a weapon. So thankfully they restored magic because she would have died.
But did she know they were going to do that? Did she know they were gonna try and bring back magic? So maybe she was
Um,
anticipating getting her magic back? That she was
yeah,
hoping that before she got there, that would happen?
Yeah, I'm sure she knew. She was part of it. She was in
Yeah.
on their whole crew and everything. So after that, she
Oh.
runs to the castle and she's about to get shot in the chest. And then just another perfectly timed Nezrin arrow. Way to go, Nezrin.
I know, she's a badass.
She really is. Her precision is on point.
Oh, yeah.
But let's go back to the bridge where Aelin has been stabbed and slipped the ring on Dorian's finger, and they're both throwing their magic at each other, and she's about to burn out, and then the freaking king steps out. And I'm curious to see your thoughts on this because my thoughts are very different this read through than they were on the first one. So we see, the ring is starting to chip away at this fog, but then the king says he's killed Kael, and Dorian, that is what brings Dorian to, right? He's like, "What?
Yeah.
You killed my brother?" Like, what? And then so I'm gonna snap
What did you say?
this collar off and I'm back, right? And I guess this is what I'm curious about. Okay, so we see the king start to come to and he's like, "Oh my boy," and "Oh, Aelin Galathinius, have you come to finally save me at last?" And do you believe him when he
At
says
that
that? Yeah.
Carry
Do you
on.
believe him that he was under the thrall of the control of this Valg guy the whole time, and he was unable to take control of anything except for getting rid of magic?
I don't that's really hard because Dorian's already showed us that you can't push through so easily when it's royalty, right? So how did
Right.
he manage that?
So, but here, this is the thing is, the first read through, I was like, okay, oh my gosh, I have sympathy for the king now. I never thought I would be in this position. But the king does say that he and the duke went under and they opened the tomb and let Erewhon out. And that
Yeah,
Erewhon inhabited the duke's body and some random grunt took the king's body. So the king does not have a collar. He does not have a royal Valg in him. He has a ring and he has a random grunt dude in him. The king has magic. The king is powerful. So I guess my question is I don't know how much to believe because he is leading us to believe that he was able to take control to protect Dorian only for this small period of time. But that small period in time includes planning out a method to get rid of magic, carrying it out, and then not only that, but being able to keep this Valg out of your head constantly and not let him see that you've done that.
yeah,
I don't know if I believe him.
you know what? That does smell really fishy. That does smell really fishy.
I
Wasn't
just
sure I believed him anyway. I
Yeah.
don't know. Something didn't feel right. Like, I
Like
understand that he was being controlled, but because I wondered if maybe the bulb was still talking. Like,
Yeah, well,
maybe
they did also mention that his voice was different, so
yeah, I don't know.
I don't
That
either.
doesn't make a lot of sense. And logically, if he was trying to protect Dorian, why wouldn't he have let Dorian know that? You telling me he couldn't write him a fucking note and stuck it in a book? Like,
Well,
Dorian, by
not
the
if
way, you
the
have
Valg
magic. There's something horrible inside of me. Don't trust me. Something.
Yeah, well, not if
You
the
telling me he
Valg
can write a note?
he said it took all of his power and all of his focus to block the Valg out from knowing this. So I guess he didn't have any extra to spare.
To write a
Which, I
note?
mean, I think we're supposed to believe the king. I think that SJM intends for us to believe the king and that he was being truthful. I just thought about it too much, and I don't quite believe him.
You know what? Because I said to you last episode that there was nothing like he couldn't be redeemed. And
Uh,
you kind of made me eat my words on that. And now I'm like, you know what? I like being right, so I'm gonna go with you. I think he was
and
lying.
I don't think you're supposed to go with me. I'm just overthinking it, and I'm like, well, there's no way that you were powerful enough to put this Vogue on a shelf for long enough. And like, if you put them on a shelf for long enough to like write a note or something, that's one thing. But to plan, carry out, and like put up towers and shit, like, no,
But
sorry, I
how
don't
did
think
the
so.
and that Volk what just sat there doing nothing for all that time and didn't let anybody
Yeah,
know that hey he shelved me for a while. I don't know what the fuck he got up to. Like it does,
yeah.
yeah. No, I
Because
don't
don't
know.
they
I
all
think
have
you
like
might
a
be on
collective
something.
conscious in some way? I'm
I don't
sure
know.
they do. Well, at least whoever the wearer of the rings, like the king, can look into their memories. So
Yeah. I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
well,
very
okay, so
interesting. That
Dorian doesn't believe him, so he roars and he shatters the glass castle, which finally, I hated that thing. Aelin hated that thing, so I hate that thing too.
I hated it too. I hated it too. I was not sorry it was gone.
No, and, I was a little worried for, like, all the innocents, but it even made a comment that, like, mostly it took out all the bad people and it spared the innocent, so somehow his magic worked with him instead of against him in that favor. Even though it was about to take out, his glass onslaught was about to take out the town, Aelin was able to stop it. That was pretty cool. But so they're falling, and Rowan, thankfully, was there to, use his wind to break their fall. And somehow everyone's laying there and they're all alive. Chaol only because of the Eye of Elena, which,
Yeah.
go Aelin. She's always
When she
protecting her
slipped in his
people.
pocket, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. So we also see, Aelin step forward and tell everybody, look, I'm Aelin Galathinius. This town is mine until your rightful king is able to step up into it. So she is, we see her accepting and stepping into her identity many times throughout this book, but now she's told an entire town full of people. Also telling them, you better not
Yeah.
F with any slavery, anything, like be good people, which I love.
I did too, because
Um,
she's very much against slavery, so I'm glad she abolished
yeah.
that. First actorship between queen, no slaves.
Yeah, I love that. She's been working on that even as Selena, so, it makes very fitting for her.
Yeah, definitely.
So then back in Morath, Manon shows back up, and she goes to rescue Elide, and
Thank God
then
for that.
Kaltain steps in the way and says, "Oh, I'm going to trade places with you to trick the Valg." And she takes the freaking word key out of her arm and hands it to her and says, "Give this to Selena Sardothian and thank her for a warm cloak in a cold dungeon."
Yeah, I thought that was really nice that she remembered that, like, the one act of
Yeah.
kindness.
I agree, and, like, to even for her to know, because she's calling her Selena Sardothian and not Aelin, so why give her the word key? Did she know that that was her mission? Or has she just heard, through the grapevine?
That's interesting.
Because I did think that, I'm like, "Why give it to her?" Because I don't think she ever mentioned anything about the word keys in front of her.
But you don't know that she wasn't hovering around in the shadows because it seemed like she was spying in that castle, right? Like, she was walking around and kinda gathering intel as she was going.
Yeah.
Maybe she caught something that she wasn't supposed to hear.
Well, do you also remember, because I don't remember the content of the conversation, but whenever Selena was put in the dungeons with Kaltain, I feel like she was asking her questions, but I don't remember what it was about. Maybe it was about her headaches, but I'm wondering if maybe that triggered something in Kaltain because she knows
Yeah,
of what
maybe.
Selena is digging for.
Yeah.
She's trying to piece
Yeah,
together those
maybe.
stuff. So I don't know. Just a random thought I had. But so she gives her the word key. Alid, Manon, and the 13 are able to escape, and Kaltain, uses her shadow fire to destroy all of the experiments and a third of Morath, and way to freaking go.
Um,
Even though Manon made a comment later that that was for her own selfish purposes, I kind of see both sides.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that she did it on her own terms, and she got to be the hero of the moment too.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, she did something awesome. Like, those
Yes,
little
she
creepy
did.
things were really starting to disturb me, and I was really hoping that they didn't get loose.
Yes. That was very, very badass of her.
Yeah, because I was actually like, if the next book is about these little things going out and eating people, I don't know
Yeah.
if I continue on this. I really don't.
Yeah. I don't think I would be interested in learning about or seeing that play out either.
No, I was just like, oh, so I was grateful. I was like, oh, thank God that's
Yeah.
over.
So Manon takes a lead to safety, and their goodbye to me was so touching that Manon kind of smiled, and then they both, like, bowed to each other.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved
I did
that.
too. I'm really loving that she's more humanizing. Every book is making her more human, and I think that's gonna make her a better leader too.
I
I
agree,
really
I
do.
agree. Yes, so Aelin wakes up. Her and Rowan finally make out. I know you've been waiting for, a little bit of action.
It's been ages. Like, this thing has gone over a while.
It really has, and they still haven't slept together, so, well, we're going on book 6, I think.
Yeah. Like, it's taking its sweet ass time, but I'm
Yeah,
just glad that it's coming now. I'm glad
yeah,
that they're opening up more to each other because I've actually really enjoyed how slow because normally it's like insta love with these books, right? You're like, oh, ooh,
Right.
yeah, insta love. But these two, it's been slow and it's kind of crept up
It
on
has.
both of them, and it's been different, but I actually quite enjoyed it. The
Yeah, it's
slow
been
burn.
more, rewarding. It feels more deserved for them. They
Yeah,
earned it instead of it was just
yeah,
thrown at them.
yeah. They've learned each other slowly and trusted each other more gently, and
Yes.
yeah, I've kind of enjoyed it. Yes, I was hoping to see a little bit more action before now, but I think it was done right.
I agree. Lorcan then steals the ring back and he dips. Do you think that he's gonna tell Gabriel that he has a son?
I would. I'm
Yeah.
gossip. But I think he would have to because that's his brother and he has knowledge now, and I think it would really depend on whether or not he would want to know. Like, he would have to if he never wanted kids, I probably wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
I think he'd
But
have to say something,
I think so too.
and
I would.
that would probably change how he feels about what's going on as well, knowing that he has a son out there. Does that mean his
He's got
allegiances are
something to
gonna
lose.
flip? Yeah, like, I would wanna know my son, and yeah, this could be quite exciting.
Yeah. So then Dorian is, feeling guilty and lost, and rightfully so. But Aelin made a comment to him that I wrote down and I really liked that says, "We are the masters of our own fates. We decide how to go forward." I love that. It just shows, how much hope is going to happen through the change that they're going to make. So
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm really excited. I really enjoyed them when they held hands and their magic did the thing together,
Yeah.
and I
And they
thought,
were like, and so the world ended and a new one began. I love
yeah. Oh, it was the end of this book is probably my favorite of any that I can think of the top of my head. Like, this was
really.
whoa, shit, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
I
very
literally
good.
I had to sit there and just be quiet afterwards. I was like, this was
Yeah. So there's,
good.
like, tons of cliffhangers on the ends of a bunch of different books, but this one, to me, wrapped up with such a just hopeful like, you feel good. You feel
Yeah.
like, things are gonna get better. And
Yeah.
then there are
They're
3 more
gonna
books
get
in the series.
worse, but they have hope for a better future, and that was really sweet. And
Absolutely.
I'm just glad that Dorian is free because that was really bothering
Um,
me. It was getting
yeah.
to the point where I'm like, if they don't free him soon, like,
It
I
was
don't
an
know if I could do
entire book. It was an
yeah.
entire book. Which, in the big scheme of it things is not that long, but it really felt like it. She did a really good job of, like, making you feel his depression and his
I felt
powerlessness.
hopeless for him. I felt
Yeah, hopeless,
absolutely
that's the right word.
hopeless for him. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I really I didn't know how he was gonna get free, and I'm actually really glad that it was Kale that reached him in the end, like, hearing that he was
yeah.
dead is what broke it in the end, because I'm glad it wasn't a girl. I'm glad that it was his brotherhood
Well,
with
you see throughout all the books, and you've made comments about how much Kale loves Dorian, so we've
yeah,
really seen that, so to see it reflected back
yeah.
through Dorian's eyes is nice.
It was beautiful. It was absolute that was probably one of my favorite moments was just seeing that that brotherhood went both ways, that it wasn't just Kale's absolute love for him. Dorian really loves him
What
too, and that was just I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, which
give me the feelers."
we see their love for each other whenever next Dorian and Kale have their reunion, and Kale starts
I'm
weeping, and they just put their foreheads together like,
I
"Oh, I
know.
love their love for each other."
I do too. I think it's really very powerful that they had this brotherhood, and even when they weren't on friendly terms, that love didn't go away. It didn't go away.
Also in their reunion, we learn that Kale is paralyzed, and if it
Yeah.
were not for Rowan, he would be paralyzed from the neck down, so I guess, it's better that it's just his legs.
Yeah, but he can go to a healer, right? Rowan just didn't wanna damage him any further because that's not his expertise, right?
Right, Rowan is, mediocre at healing, and to take on something of that extent, he could cause more harm than not,
Yeah.
and there are no healers left in Rifthold, so the Torrid Chessmate is where, like, all of the most advanced healers are. That's where
Yeah,
Irene
Irene,
needs to go
please.
to
Yeah,
go
okay,
learn.
good. I was hoping that was where this was going. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Please be where we please, I'd love to know where she ended up."
Yes. So, and then in this meeting reunion with Kale and Dorian, we also learn that Dorian has named him Lord Kale Westfall Hand or the King's Hand.
Yeah,
Ah,
I love
and,
that.
like, just honestly, them doling out all of these new, like, titles and responsibilities and stuff. It's so sweet to me because these are
Well,
the
'cause
cast that
and they
we love and know.
yeah, well, the Nesrin becomes captain of
Uh,
the guard, right? And that's
yeah,
the first
but
woman to
she's
have ever done it.
temporary because
Y well,
she's now ordered to go with him to the southern continent because that's where her people are from, and so they're ordered to go down there to, form an alliance and for Kale to heal.
yeah, he
Also,
needs it.
speaking of, like, it was a little not concrete, but I got the feeling in the end that Nezran and Kale were gonna, like, try to be together
Yeah. It did feel that
because
way to me as well.
yeah, because he was like, "Are you sure you'd wanna be with someone paralyzed?" And she's basically like, "I can't believe you'd even think that."
Yeah,
So, I think that might be where that one is heading. So,
interesting.
let's see. And then, and speaking of giving out titles, freaking Aelin gives Lysandra the ring and asks her to be Lady Lysandra and part of her court.
I love
Love it.
that. I'm so glad that the 2 of them have become friends the way that they have,
Yeah.
and they have a really sweet bond. I really love that.
I
I
do
love it.
too. And I love that she was like, "What is the name of the land?" And she was like, "I don't know, name it whatever you want. Lysandra land, like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's yours."
I love
So,
it.
next goodbye that we get to see that was really hard for me was Dorian and Aelin's goodbye. That one, like, actually, I was in my feels for the entire end of this book, and not in a bad way, it was in a good way,
Yeah.
but just to see how much they've grown, and they have just, like, such a profound understanding and respect for one another because they were these kids, and now they're having to step into their role as king and queen
Queen, yeah. But
and
think of
onto
how
this.
powerful that alliance is gonna be because their friendship and they both
Yeah.
have common goals. I really enjoyed that. I
Yeah,
really did. And I love that they didn't taint their friendship, like, trying to be a romantic couple, because I think their friendship is way more beautiful than that.
I
Like, the
agree.
way they care for each other is really, really sweet.
I agree, and I read somewhere, and I haven't looked into it, but I read somewhere that whenever SJM started the series, Dorian and Aelin were supposed to be endgame.
Really?
I think that's where she was planning on going with it,
I'm glad
but
that she didn't.
I
I'm
love their
glad
friendship so much more.
I do too. I do too, but I think Dorian makes a really nice friend. Like, even
Yeah.
with his princely title, I think all the way
Well,
through, you can see that he never felt like he was above anybody either. And
yeah.
that was one of the things that I did notice as I was reading is that he never put his princeliness out there as making him seem better than anybody else. And he kind of won me over with that too. Even though he
Yeah,
was, charming and cocky and whatnot, and like, hey, a bit of a ladies' man, he has a massive heart, and I like that.
he
I'm
does.
glad that they're all friends again because that was really bothering me.
Yes, it was, and I really, really enjoy I think I enjoy their friendship so much more because it is a male-female friendship and because Dorian is such a ladies' man, so to be
Yeah,
able to see him love a woman,
in a
not
different
in
way.
a sexual, flirty way is just I don't know, it's just I like when characters have different layers and more depth to them, and that really adds a lot to Dorian.
Yeah. I
So
feel like he's gonna be really broken with everything that happened whilst that creature was inside him. I think it's gonna be a long, slow journey for him coming back to himself.
yeah, but he's strong and he's got, lots of
Good
people
friend.
around him that love him, and yeah, he'll make it.
I know. I'm like, the hardest part was getting that Volg out. I'm like, I don't think so. It's gonna be rebuilding your self-worth after all that because you had no
Yeah.
control, but you did some pretty shitty things, bro.
And you can see the guilt that he's carrying at the
Yeah.
end, but, I think in
Not
talking to
justified. Not
yeah,
justified.
for sure, but I don't know. So then we see him, look off his balcony, and Manon and Abraxos are there checking in on him, essentially.
You right now, there is something there.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
flirting, and there's something that because why would she go check on him?
He
Was it
said
to
she was
make sure he was free?
curious.
Because she was curious. She's got a
Yeah.
little witch crush. I'm telling you right now, she
Yeah.
was making sure that Aelin had freed him, and I think if Aelin hadn't, she was gonna do it. I
She's
don't
gonna free
know.
him, yeah.
I get this feeling that there's gonna be more of the 2 of them,
Well,
and
she even told the king whenever they had met in the forest, she even told the king, like, "You should send him to Marath." And I was wondering if it's because he's Valg and whatever, or if it's because she wanted him there.
he's pretty. She just wanted to look at
Yeah.
him.
Well, I think it also would keep her on her toes. So I had written down, what do you think is gonna come of that? Do you think it's gonna just be an alliance, or do you think it's gonna be, like, a romantic relationship?
You know what? At this point, I know I'm joking that I could see the 2 of them together. I could see something happening between the two of them, but it would make sense to make alliances with powerful people because they were supposed to fight for the king. Well, who are they fighting for now?
Well, the
So
Duke
to get them back onto the right side, that would be in Dorian's favor right there. But I'm kind of hoping we see more of them doing their floaty thing together. I'd like that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I did think about that. I was like, "Well, the king is dead," and then they go back and the Duke is still ordering her around, like, obviously, they're still trying to carry out their mission and,
Well,
still
yeah,
have
because like
war.
because the Duke was the one really doing it all. The king was just there as
He was a pawn.
"Hey, look over here, I'm driving in the back." Like, he's in front,
Absolutely.
but it's really me, like Voldemort, right? In Harry
Yeah.
Potter. He was doing
Yeah,
it from the
absolutely.
wings. Yeah, that's good, like, that makes sense to me, but it's gonna be now who do they side with? Like, is are they gonna side with Dorian or the Duke? This is going to be an exciting next chapter for me. I'm
The
excited.
next book is very action-packed.
I cannot wait because I
So
think
a
that
lot of
I'm done with the slow burniness now. I need more.
I was gonna quick ask, a lot of people recommend doing a tandem read. I didn't. I
With
read Empire of Storms and then I read Tower of Dawn, but I'm open to do whatever you wanna do. I loved it
okay,
reading it individually.
okay. I'll do whatever you want. I am trusting you to lead me on this journey,
Okay,
so I will
okay.
do
I
whatever
part of
you want.
me I've always been curious to do the tandem read, but I think maybe we should stick book to book. That way, it will make it easier whenever it says part 1 end, part 2 end to cut it and do our podcast based on that instead of trying to, like, get both storylines to end at a part that's good. I don't know. Back to this though, we end with everybody going off on their own journey, the path towards change. We've got a lead who's going north to go find Aelin. Kale and Nezran are going south to heal and, form alliances with that royal family. Dorian will be, rebuilding himself and his kingdom. And then Aelin and her court are heading north to Terrasen. She has an eye back. Lysandra's just fully enjoying shape shifting on this trek, and I
I
I
know,
like
I
that.
really liked that. I really liked that because I'd be doing that too. I'd be like, "Poof, here I am. Poof, what am I
Yeah,
now? Ooh, I'm over there."
absolutely,
It was
yeah,
so
exactly.
fun.
So,
It'll be
and
so
then
fun.
the book ends, they arrive in Terrasen, and she smells, snow and pine, and that's what Rowan smells like, so it's really sweet. Rowan smells like her home, and then
Smells
he
like
even was
home.
like yeah, he was even like, "I feel like I've been looking for this place forever."
I
I thought
know. Do you know what that was? That was probably the sweetest thing.
yeah,
That was something he was obviously missing and didn't know he was missing. It was adorable.
I enjoyed
Adorable.
that. So, other random things I had written down was, that I loved that Lysandra puked on Lorcan, puked up all the Valg guts.
You know what? Because she's so, like, ladylike, right? To
Yeah,
have her do that, I was laughing so hard, I was wiping tears
same.
out of my eyes. 'Cause I'm like,
It is
she's so, like she likes to refine things and yeah.
yeah, and
That's
she's like, "Ugh."
embarrassing.
Yeah, I loved that.
Karma hitting Lorcan right in the face. That was
Absolutely,
beautiful.
like, "Cool, you tried to redeem yourself, but you're still an ass, so here you go.
Yeah.
Face full
I
of all good."
like him, though. I don't know, I like him. I just
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
I was making
dislike him.
excuses for him. I was like, "Oh," you know?
Yeah, I think that the warriors just obviously they've got like a stone wall exterior, and so they're not, the warm and flirty and gushy and charismatic people like Dorian, who we
Yeah.
instantly love. So yes, I like Lorcan too. He grows on you. I like Rowan. He had to grow on me, but it's just a slow burn versus right up
Yeah.
front.
Maybe that's just what they are is, like,
Yeah.
warriors,
Well,
hard
I mean,
exterior show.
well, if you've lived, 500 years fighting and then learning how to push your feelings on the back burner because they get in the way, then that would make sense. Also, you don't have time
Yeah.
for trivial shit. Like, what does that matter? This is what someone's lifetime. So 60 years whenever you're 500. Like,
Yeah. You'll be dead by the
so,
time I even remember what I had for breakfast.
right, right. So I also made a note that I loved Rowan's sass whenever Lorcan came to visit. And he was like, "Oh, I'm glad you put pants on." And then Rowan was like, "I didn't want you to feel inadequate."
Yeah. That was quick. That was really quick. I like
Yeah, some
quick-witted
of the
men.
random little one-liners in here are good.
Yeah,
Also, I
it's the
love that
humor.
I also love that she calls him Buzzard. I don't know why, but it makes me giggle. Yeah,
Oh, she's awesome.
but
Oh,
that's
I
all I
really
got.
enjoyed this installment. I
Yeah.
really like the part 2 was brilliant. There was some
Yes, it was.
insanely delicious writing in there. I'm actually glad that some of the things that I wanted rectified were done with now that we have a new set of, like, things going forward. I feel like a lot of the stuff that was bothering me is all tied up now, and I'm
Yeah.
really ready to see what's in the next installment.
Yeah, so they did a pretty good job of wrapping up, her freeing magic, killing the king, freeing Dorian. Those were the not short term, but those were the goals of this book. And she wrapped them up, and everybody has stepped into the position that they will now be occupying and, hopefully thriving in. So, I mean, there is definitely the bigger war. There are
Yeah.
definitely still antagonists and people that they will have to defeat. So we kind of dive into that. And I mean, without spoiling anything, the next book, and this is why people suggest the tandem read, is because the next book is Empire of Storms, and then the one after that is Tower of Dawn, but they are actually taking place at the same time.
Okay.
So Empire of Storm is Aelin's storyline, and then Tower of Dawn is Chaos in the Southern Continent.
Okay. Yeah, I never
So
thought about doing it like that. I just thought we are gonna do book to book to book.
yeah, I mean, and I'm open to doing it, and I'm sure that in the tandem read, it'll still, get us to finish part 1 together, maybe, I would assume, but if it doesn't, I feel like that would be kinda hard to split it up. And I think with you, most people's complaint of Tower of Dawn is it's Cale's perspective, and a lot of people don't like him, but I think
Well, I
because you
do,
like
so I'm alright with
I
it.
didn't love him the first read through, but Tower of Dawn is it's a great book. Like, you obviously get to meet the Southern royal family, so the cast expands, and I like it a lot. So, I
I'm
think you'll
looking
like it
forward
too.
to it. I'm looking forward to it. I've,
But
they've all really grown on me as characters. Like, I love Aelin. I absolutely adore her, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. I really cannot wait. But I
a
also
lot.
wanna know where Maeve is gonna, like, where is she gonna fall? On what side is she gonna fall? Like, because at this point, I'm like, it really could go either way. Because
Yeah,
she clearly doesn't want to be possessed, but maybe if she could make an alliance, she'd be more powerful that way, knowing that she wouldn't. And I'm like,
I'm
but she
not gonna
hasn't picked a
say.
side yet. It doesn't feel like she's picked a side yet. I don't know. That was
You
the only thing
will.
that's still
You
bothering me.
will learn everything and
I
more.
know, but that
There
was the
is
only
more to that
thing.
storyline than you could ever even imagine. You will find out.
Excellent. Because
Like,
yeah,
it
that was the
actually
only
gets
thing I'm
pretty
like,
big.
because she seems like she could flip either way, and I just don't know where she's gonna fall, and that
Yeah.
irritates me. If I don't know, then I'm like, 'cause that could go either way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, I don't know how many parts are in Empire of Storm. I haven't actually looked, but we'll just communicate and keep in touch. I feel like we are gonna have to, whatever the parts are, I think we should do the podcast in however many parts there are.
Yeah. Yeah, we can totally do that. It
There's a
definitely is easier doing it this way. Like,
Yeah,
'cause this would
there's
have
a
been a really long episode otherwise.
yeah. I think both of them together would have been like 3.5 hours, so
Yeah, and that would have been a bit to upload.
yeah, but it also gives us, it gives us a little bit of extra wiggle room to be able to go in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, that's true. I'm enjoying this. I'm having a great time. And I think
Me
I'm getting more
too.
out of this series deep diving with you than I would have just reading it by myself.
Good. I want everybody to love this series, so if I can help, I will.
I'm totally there. I'm there. Definitely, it's definitely my favorite series of this year.
Well, every book keeps getting better, honestly.
Yeah, I
Like,
can believe that. I
it's
can
so
believe
good,
that.
and Kingdom of Ash is just I think it'll always be my favorite book.
I can't wait to get to that one. What number is that one?
The last one.
That's the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
We got some time yet.
Yeah, but Imma go read Empire of Storms. I've been waiting. I finished this, almost a whole week ago, so I was just
Oh
like,
my, I think I finished Wednesday. I finished it on
"Okay,
Wednesday.
yeah,
So I wanted to sit down and really concentrate, and there was too much noise. And I'm like, I cannot give this my full attention. I need to step away.
yeah," and it
I need to
deserves
step
that,
away.
so
Exactly. I wasn't gonna just like I do with my other books, where I'm just like, whatever, and just yeah. I needed
yep.
my attention. Needed my
Yeah?
attention. Yeah. Thank you for joining us on our deep dive of Queen of Shadows Part 2. I had a really great time. Don't forget that you can follow us on our social medias. We're both on Instagram at the Toppling TBR _ Hannah is HANNA, and I'm Stacey, Stacey. We have a Facebook page at the Toppling TBR. Don't forget to give us a subscribe on our YouTube at the Toppling TBR. And if you type the Toppling TBR into Spotify, you can find us there as well. I hope you have a great reading week, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Take care.